So this is the HP Envy 15. It's
Dun 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 dun.
it's a pretty amazing machine, really.
It's a monster device.
It's a monster device in many ways. Actually, we'll show you why it's a monster in so many different ways. And one of the first things that strikes you when you first look at it is that they are very heavily inspired by a
Dell Inspiron.
No, it's a Lenovo IdeaPad.
No.
Sony Vaio. No, obviously it's an Apple MacBook Pro, heavily inspired by the Apple MacBook Pro.
Without the glass touch. No.
Well,
glass
since
screen.
you start with the display, this 15-inch display, right, with a black border. The only difference is they don't have the glass.
Which will add on to the weight though.
Yeah.
The already heavy.
Yeah, the weight for this machine, right, has already got exceeded to a point where even if you add more weight, it doesn't make a difference anymore because it's just past the point where you say it's heavy.
Yeah. Okay, the screen.
The hinge.
What's the resolution? Sorry.
Okay, so the resolution of the screen is pretty amazing. Unlike the MacBook Pro, the resolution for this display is a full 1080p display. So it's 1920 by 1080. So it's pretty amazing for
It is.
Yeah, and very, very high resolution display.
Okay, and the hinge?
The hinge looks just like the MacBook Pro. The keyboard is a chiclet keyboard, and it's a good thing. The keyboard is actually very nice to feel.
I realized the keyboard is slightly very close. I mean, it's spaced very closely together, and it's slightly different from the MacBook Pro, which is slightly spaced a little bit further apart.
Yeah. But if it still does feel good. And one thing that's the problem with it that they added, which they shouldn't have, was these 2 extra rows of keys, right? So the problem with these extra rows of keys is that you're not used to. Sometimes when you type, you actually rely on the sides to know where your fingers are. So the problem with that is that because there's this extra row of keys, when you want to hit the shift key, you end up launching the calculator, for example. Yeah, that kind of thing. When you want to hit the enter key, you go page down instead because there's extra row of keys that you're not used to. So that's just one thing. And the touchpad is also, this is a new generation of touchpads that HP and several other companies have started to do because of once again, inspiration by a particular food company. This is a one-click touchpad. So basically the whole button, there's only one physical button, right? And then basically. So
what happens to the right click?
You still click on the same place. It's just that it's no longer an extra button.
So it's pretty much exactly like the MacBook Pro then. Where it's based on which direction.
No, not which direction. Where you click.
Okay.
Where you click, not which direction. So if you actually click here, it's a right click. If you click here, it's a click. So the advantage is that you have the whole touchpad to move. And you only need to come here when you want to click or right click.
I see. And one of the things that the first time I touched this, right, and is that the touch what is it, trackpad?
Yeah.
Trackpad, right? It feels so good.
Yeah, let's just stop right there. and it's really designed very well. In terms of the ports, right? All the ports are all on one side, and you have everything. The HDMI port, there's an HDMI port built in straight away, which is really brilliant. There's a eSATA port straight away, so you can tell it's already a very high-end device.
Is there a VGA port?
Oh yes, that's the thing. No, there's no VGA port. You need to have a dongle which converts the HDMI to VGA.
Okay, so it's not very good for presentations, rather.
Yeah, that's right. It's good for like home theater kind of thing. In fact, it does not have optical drive built in. So but it does come with an external Blu-ray drive.
Okay, Blu-ray.
Blu-ray, yes.
Not the rewritable, right?
No, it's not Blu-ray writer.
Just
DVD writer, Blu-ray reader.
Okay.
Yes, that's right. So and then of course you have an SD card slot right at the front, and pretty nice.
Is it just purely SD card, or is there?
It's a purely SD card.
Okay. So it's not a one of those multi.
And one of the smart things that they did was that they actually put the user manual of the computer in an SD card.
So it comes with an SD card. And how big is the SD card?
I'm not sure whether is it writable, but the manual is in an SD card.
Okay.
So you just put the SD card inside the computer, and then you get access to the full manual. Yeah, instead of a CD-ROM, for example.
Very nice.
Yeah. And then the speakers, the sound system is actually part of the the Beats. Dr. Dre, I don't know what's that. The Beats thing, Beats sound thing. So it's pretty good. If you have the right headphones, you have very high-end audio.
And what are these
these things? They have ventilation.
Ventilation. Because I see it like almost everywhere around.
This thing is so hot, literally hot, right? That you can, when you play games on this thing, which you can play really high-end games on this thing. It you can cook an egg.
Okay, so what graphics card is it?
So this is a ATI HD4830 with 1GB
Oh
of graphics
man,
memory. That's very high end. So since we mentioned the graphics card, let's talk about the rest of the specifications,
Okay.
which is another reason. Which is where they did not copy the Fruit Company, right? And the specs are pretty amazing. So you have the ATI graphics card with 1GB of RAM, 500GB of hard drive space, 7,200 RPM hard drive in fact.
Wow.
A Core i7. So it's a quad core, 4 cores, and each core can do hyper-threading. So you're talking about 8 threads altogether, up to 2.8 gigahertz. RAM comes with 8GB of RAM. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much the specs. Is there any other specs that I missed out?
Let's take a look. Wow, look at that. 8 CPU thing.
So
there you go.
So
8 of them.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
That's scary.
Yeah, and the shortcut keys, right, back to the keyboard, right? The shortcut keys.
It looks exactly like the.
So you have shortcut
MacBook
controls
Pro.
to play back and all that kind of stuff. And then your volume up, volume down. So by default, it's all these shortcuts. You hit the function key if you want to use the F1, F2, and so on.
Okay, here's the question: is there a backlit for the keyboard?
No, there isn't. That's one thing that I wish that they copied from the Fruit Company, but they did not. So that's one of the things that does not have a backlit keyboard.
Okay, how about now the camera? Let's talk about the camera.
Yes, the webcam. So not every computer comes with a webcam, right? So they want to really make this a monster machine. So the webcam.
1.3 megapixels?
I cannot remember. It could be 1.3, it could be 2, but the camera is actually has infrared camera. So there's actually infrared light for night vision. So it's it's pretty insane. Yeah.
Wow, okay. And the mics, I noticed there are like two.
Yeah, which is actually starting to get very common in notebooks today. So this is.
So what does the two mics do?
Basically, they allow you to do noise cancelling.
Noise cancelling.
Yes.
Very nice. And there is another thing over here.
Yep, the ambient sensor. So it kind of controls the brightness according to the how bright your room is actually.
The biggest question: how much?
So this is a very high-end machine, so yeah.
It's a monster machine. I call it a monster machine.
Actually, before we go to the price, let's talk how monster this thing is, right? The computer doesn't just come like this, alright?
Okay.
You have the massive power brick.
Okay,
right?
yes.
So you have to carry that one around. If you want to plan to watch movies, you need to carry the Blu-ray drive along with you.
Okay.
Right? If you want it to have lots of battery, it comes with the higher end models, right? Come with an extra second battery as well.
Okay.
So which fits at the bottom. So you carry 2 batteries, a power brick, a Blu-ray drive, the computer itself.
Okay, and talking about battery, like the standard battery, how long do you think it will last? Usually about 3 hours.
Yeah, about 2 or 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, and then with the extra battery, maybe about another two more hours extra.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things you need to carry around, and for that price, this machine is priced at about 3,700 Singapore dollars. Yeah, so.
Well, I think it's pretty reasonable. In fact, I would expect about like 5,000 for this kind of Blu-ray drive, everything.
8GB RAM. It's in a high-end graphics card.
Exactly.
So it's really insane. As much as some people are annoyed that it doesn't seem like a very original design and experience, but nevertheless, they did a good job. It's a very powerful machine. You can do anything that you need with it. You can play high-end graphics games.
So with that said, right? Would you call this more of a desktop replacement rather than a mobile warrior kind of? A
smaller desktop replacement, because this is not like say the HP Dragon, the 20-inch.
But it has a 1 gig, 1 gig of graphics card.
Yeah,
so
that's right. So it's a I don't know, small desktop. I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely a desktop replacement. So yeah, this is the HP Envy 15. If you've got any questions, I'm sure you do. Gear65@tech65.org. That's our email address. Alright, if you want to visit our website, www.tech65.org, you might want to check out the unboxing video for this particular machine, and you will get an idea of how much hardware comes with this package itself.
It's insane, but I don't think I will get it.
Yeah, I don't have the money to get it even if I wanted to. So, yep. That's it for this week of Gear65. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.